Sergeant First Class Paul Smith was under enemy fire in Iraq. Ordered the evacuation of 3 soldiers wounded in the attack on their vehicle. He then manned the machine gun mounted on top of the vehicle and engaged the enemy while the 3 soldiers were removed from the vehicle. He was killed during the course of the attack that allowed his fellow soldiers to escape. During the Vietnam War, Captain Joe Pascucci was navigating a nighttime mission in Laos, close to the Ho Chi Minh Trail. The Huey was hit and started spinning in circles due to the loss of the rotor. The aircraft spun until it hit the trees and fell to the ground in a ball of flames. The pilot and co-pilot died in the fire. Joe died lying next to me after saving my life and pulling me away from the crash and the fire. Every loss of life is tragic, especially when it ends prematurely in war. I hope that on this Memorial Day, the American people can direct their attention in remembrance of those nations' heroic defenders whose lives were cut short. May their memories be cherished and their sacrifices appreciated by the country they died protecting. Today, the Taliban are believed to be holding a POW. He is 25-year-old Army Sergeant Bo Bergdahl. He is the only U.S. soldier being held at this time. He has been in captivity since June 30th, 2009 in Afghanistan. We have seen some film footage indicating he is still alive, but since his reported escape attempt this past December, there has been no more information released. He desperately needs your thoughts and prayers. And I just heard on the news this morning, apparently there are negotiations for some kind of a trade for some of the inmates down in Cuba there. Americans, as we know, can be forgetful of the sacrifices made by our military, the veterans and their families. Beyond the many citations for valor are the untold, documented stories of men and women who live with the scars of war. And sitting here today, I'll bet there's quite a few stories that haven't been told. Many American sons and daughters are returning with amputations, disfigurements, physical illness due to environmental exposures, traumatic brain injuries, and post-traumatic stress disorder. It will never be possible for these veterans and their families to forget the sacrifices they made. So why we should allow our own memories to lapse? They did, after all, stand up for every one of us here today. For many, Memorial Day stirs memories of the past and marks the beginning of a fun-filled summer. I consider myself a patriotic American, and I am deeply grateful that you are all here today and to pay respect to those who have given their lives for this country, our country. This is an uncertain world, and no matter how safe we feel, our freedom is a highly valued and targeted commodity. So never forget, never let your children forget, so they understand the meaning of Memorial Day. We are very fortunate to have a voluntary force of men and women willing to safeguard our freedom at any cost. All of us here today are grateful for the freedoms and liberties given to us through the heroics men like Robert Blackwell, Jack Mathis, Francis Hammond, Paul Smith, and Joe Pascucci. Never abandon their memory or their sacrifices slip from your minds. And on that, I would like to thank you all for having me here today. and it has truly been an honor to speak to you about this. Thank you.